Hello everybody, my name is Uncle Lenny and this is Uncle Lenny Says. Now I've been telling everybody that I've been wanting to give my life story on epilepsy, which I am now 20 years seizure free on medicine, and I just wanted to tell my story, and finally have time between my work and home life. And I'm here in my front room, and I have my picture of my son who's in the Army. He just completed 4 years and he re-enlisted for 6 more. And he trained in Fort Sill. Was that what it was? Yeah, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And now he's over in Europe. And his MO is anti-aircraft. He sets up the radar and watches the radar for incoming artillery or enemies. And this was a little Army doll. I think he sent it to me. And I wasn't sure if he sent it or if I bought it. I don't remember. But this here is a lantern I bought when he graduated his training boot camp. And I bought the lantern from Michael's. It's a hobby shop. And I got the stickers, the Army stickers. And then there's and I got the ribbon. And underneath there's a music box that plays "You Are My Sunshine," and that's a song I used to sing to him when he was a baby. And I also bought some clear adhesive paper, and I typed the Soldier's Creed on it, and I put it on one of the glass in the back. And then there's a candle. The candle has another picture of him like this, and it has the information about his job. And that's my little area for him. And when he gets out of the service one day, he'll be able to have that I made for him. So my story is, I typed it out. It's on the blog, Google blog, and it's about 10 pages. So I'm gonna separate it into 2 videos. And the title of my video is "What Does an Epileptic Look Like?" Okay, and the reason I chose that question is in my epileptic group online that I'm a part of on Facebook. People, we talk about our experiences and things and reactions from other people. And one of the questions somebody asked one of our members was, "You don't look like an epileptic." Well, the question is, what does an epileptic look like? What do you think an epileptic looks like? Okay? And you probably didn't know it, but there's many professional people, actors and musicians who have epilepsy. And in Google, if you Google it, there are 12 professional people that have epilepsy. Lil Wayne, he's a rap superstar. He has epilepsy. Theodore Roosevelt, the president, okay, he had epilepsy. Dia Green, she's an Olympic star, and they also had epilepsy. Danny Glover, he was on Lethal Weapon, okay, he has epilepsy. Jason Snelling, he was a former Atlanta Falcons running back also has epilepsy. Neil Young, he's a legendary singer, songwriter. Okay, Susan Boyle, Britain's Got Talent singer. Okay, Rick Harrison, he's a star of Pawn Stars. Pawn Stars. Prince, okay, he's a legendary singer, performer. He has epilepsy, had epilepsy. And then Chanda Gunn, 2006 Olympics women's hockey goalie, also had epilepsy. Alan Finesha, he's a former guard for the NFL teams and winner of one Super Bowl. Okay. And the last one I have is Hugo Weaving. He's an Australian actor, also had epilepsy. Okay. And so my story, I begin with, I had tonic-clonic seizures, okay, which is known as grand mal, which I've always referred them to. And so my story begins when my parents met, and that was before my October 1967 birth, okay? And if you go on my blog, I have some pictures in the story. There's my parents back in 1967, and there's me, okay? Sometime before they met, my mom had my 5 siblings from a previous marriage. My mom had a difficult time with alcohol abuse, and she divorced her husband and placed my 5 siblings in an orphanage. Somewhere during the time when my mom and my father had me, she informed my father of her 5 siblings, or 5 children that were in the orphanage. Oh, I have 5 more kids. So during that time, my father took my siblings out of the orphanage, and there we are, instant family, six kids. And my mom had a problem with alcoholism when she was carrying me. Therefore, her water broke in her 7th month, and she had an emergency C-section in Ohio, in a Ohio hospital, where I spent the next 2 months in an incubator, and I finally went home in December with my instant family. Okay. We have, my mom and I have a little joke, or not a joke, but we each have tattoos, and one of her tattoos was along her C-section line, and she has dolphins there, okay? And she would show different people. Her kid, me or my siblings, we would never want to see it. You know, it's down there, it's personal. You know, now Mom don't want to see it. But, so I never seen it up until before she died. She died in August of this year, this past August. And I'm a caregiver. My wife and I are caregivers. My wife's a CNA in a facility. She's also a nursing student. And I was a CNA in hospice, and now I'm a home caregiver. Okay, I take care of a dementia patient. And I have another client that I see once a week just to help him around the house and things like that. Okay, so like I said, I never seen this dolphin tattoo on her C-section my whole life, okay? And, but her last remaining weeks on this earth before she died, she was here at home, and my wife and I took care of her, and there was times, actually, even while she was still up and around, and sometimes had accidents, bathroom accidents. The one time I helped her with that, okay? And then when she had her, was in her dying days, we would have to, my wife and I would have to take care of her and clean her up and things like that. So that was the time when I saw her C-section, the dolphins. And she was also in crisis care, so she had nurses there around the clock. And it was just kind of a little amusing. I was like, I never saw this tattoo my whole life. Never wanted to see it. That's, but finally I saw it, which is no big deal, but you never think you're going to be in a certain place until you're there. Okay. So, so there we are, an instant family, and we lived in Ohio, okay? And there's another picture here of my siblings and my mom and my dad and I. And sometime in my early years, we moved from Ohio to Pennsylvania. The first place I have some memory of where we lived was in Catawissa, Pennsylvania. Now, I don't know about everybody else, but my memory with certain things, I don't know why, I don't remember a lot of when I was younger until when I was 5 years old. I kind of remember things, and then I'm not sure if it's something I remember or just because I saw it in a photo album or something, or somebody told me the story. But anyhow, we lived in Catawissa, Pennsylvania, and we rented a large home. It was down a steep hill, and there was a big home, and it was 2 floors, and then there was a pond out back, okay? So we rented this, and I also remember the layout of the home. So here I am, somewhere 4 or 5 year old, okay? And I remember the living room. You go in the door, and the living room's over here, the kitchen's over here. In the back of the living room, I believe, was my mom's special room or parlor or whatever you want to call it. That was her room. Like, I believe it was no kids. We don't. That was her room. So, and she might have entertained guests in there. I don't know. So, but when you come in the door, instead of going to the living room or the kitchen, if you go straight in, there's the stairway that went upstairs. And then to the left was my parents' bedroom, and then my brothers and mine and my sisters were there. And then I believe the bathroom was at this end. So it was just funny how I just remember certain things like that, okay? And so that was our home where we stayed, and there was also a field there, okay? It was out in the country, so there was a field there. I don't know if it was a cornfield or what, probably corn. And my sisters had a girls' fort there, clubhouse fort. And my one sister was smoking out there, and the whole field caught on fire. And that's another thing. I don't remember if I really remember it or if I remember somebody telling me about it, but the fire company was in there and they put it out and everything. My sister was crying and all that. But that was a pretty, wild experience for her, and, So, So my mom also had friends and family over. My mom was in the program, okay, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or Friends of Bill W, they called it also. And she always had friends over. We had cookouts and or swimming in the pond. And I also had videos from the times I would ride my big wheel. You remember the big wheel? You got the big wheel in the front and the 2 little ones in the back, and you're riding down the street or whatever, down like this. Well, I used to ride down the driveway in my big wheel, okay? And I had, remember the old silent videos, old silent video movie cameras. Well, I used to have videos of that from my father's silent video camera, and of me riding down the hill, and also of some of our picnics and family gatherings like that. So I also recall, yeah, let's see, so at the age of 5, I remember my parents got divorced because my mom's still had a drinking problem, and she needed to get help. So my mom had to go to rehab, and they divorced. And so my siblings, most of them all split up and went separate ways. My brother and I my dad took my brother and I, and we went and rented a different home in Northumberland, Pennsylvania. Okay, and my sisters all went their different ways. One of them was married or got married, and the other couple went their way. A couple of them to foster home and whatnot. So, but we all kept in touch throughout the years, and eventually my father actually gave my brother up to foster care because he used to pick on me, and which is natural, I guess, for brothers, big brothers, little brothers sometimes, But for some reason, my father decided to put him in foster care. Okay, and we still, even today, in fact, he lives in the same town I live right now, and in Florida here, and he also has a home in New York. Okay, so like I said, my mom went to rehab, and that was in White Deer Run, which is in Pennsylvania. And my dad and brother and I moved to our place, and I remember different things about this house that we had. There was an attic where we weren't supposed to go, but there was a toy piano up there. So I remember going up there to play with the piano, and we couldn't take it downstairs. I just had to go up there. Maybe, I don't know if my brother went with me or what. But and then I remember there was a train track out back, and then the river. Okay, and then I remember going out there with my brother, and I think he had a fort somewhere out there. But it's like I said, there's some things I remember, some things I don't. So I don't know if it's just my age, or if it was a thing with the epilepsy that, limits my memory at some points. And another thing that I have now, which is I have tinnitus, where my ears are constantly ringing. I have like a 2-tone pitch in my ear, one high and one low. So I like to go to sleep watching TV. Keeps me focused on the TV instead of my ears. And I don't know whether that developed because of medication, because of seizures, or somewhere else during my life, something happened, I don't know. But my dad's brother, and my dad's my grandfather, he's from Germany, and he moved here. He came long ago, back in I think it was the Ellis Island days, back where they had to come in through New York. And he lived with my Uncle Paul in New Jersey, and then he would come visit and stay with us for some time. And there was a bar down the street that he used to drive to, and he'd come home. And the one day we were out, my dad and my brother and I were out, and because my dad had been dating a woman there, I mean, in town somewhere, and she was also she was a Christian, and she brought us to church and everything. And my dad um, and we went to Baptist church, and my father was saved, born again, and I was saved at the age of 8, born again, and I grew up Christian. I went to private school from 5th grade up till I graduated high school, and if anybody doesn't know what born again or is, it's if you look up on the internet, Google the Romans Road to Salvation. Okay, that tells you in the Bible where the Bible verses are to and what you have to do to be saved. So, so my grandfather, when he was going to the bar and stuff, he was in a 3-car accident. He was in the middle, and he was rushed to the trauma hospital in the next city, and he had to get stitches in his tongue and on his head. And I don't remember how long he was in there, the hospital, but eventually he came out, and yeah, he was doing okay. And then after he was done visiting, he went back with my uncle. So, like I said, my dad eventually put my brother in foster care, and my father and his first girlfriend broke up, and my father met his his second wife at a store that he worked at called Montgomery Ward's. I don't know if it's still in existence today, but when he left there, he was manager of the carpet and furniture department. My father was always a good salesman. I always used to joke, he could sell you your own shoes. That's how good I thought of a salesman he was. But he met his second wife in Montgomery Ward's, and she worked in the communication department where the incoming phones come, and they and I think they also had some financial things in that department that they took care of with customers and stuff. So they got married, and they never had kids, any more kids. And so then my dad and my first stepmother, they bought an apartment building, which was 2 floors, had 1, 2, 3, had like 3 or 4 apartments, and we lived there, and that was in Sunbury, Pennsylvania. And I used to go to a school nearby. At that time, it was public. That school I was in 2nd grade, and I was there till 4th grade. But and then from 5th grade on, I went to private school. So that was their first home that we lived in, and when around 8. So somewhere around the age of 8 years old, I don't remember exactly when, but I would wake up in the morning, and I would call my dad, and I would say, I feel weird, okay? And I'd be shaking, and my dad would give me a teaspoon of sugar, which is for some reason they calmed me down. And I think there was a song, a teaspoon of sugar makes the medicine go down. That's what I think of when I think of that, So that was, and then I was, let's see, seemed calm down, okay. Then my mother met a man. His name was Merlin Bush, and we called him Bushy. Okay, she met him in the program, and they got married when I was 8 years old, and he divorced her. They got divorced when I was, I think it was just after my divorce, from my first wife, and that was my first wife was from Colombia. We were married for 12 years. We had my son, and like I said, she's from Colombia, and we got divorced after 12 years, and then my mom used to always come to Florida. My mom loved Florida. She hated winters, she hated snow, and so she would come by herself to Florida to stay with us for a week or two, and then she would go home, or maybe it may have been more than a week or two, because or she would come for several times throughout the winter, and eventually she and her husband got divorced, and he lives in Pennsylvania still, and so they since we were both divorced and single, my mom and I moved in together in my brother's house here in Florida, out in the Estates. So then my mom, when she was married to this second guy, the guy after my father, they lived in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, and they were, it was about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from where I lived. So there was always times where I felt like I wanted to go see him, but maybe I couldn't because my schoolwork wasn't doing well. My father wanted me to stay home. So there was different issues with not being able to see her. And, I can't blame my father. I don't really know I know my father always tried to push me through school, which was good. And my father believed in spanking on the butt. It wasn't a out of control thing. It was, he believed in spare the rod, spoil the child. So most times if I got in trouble at school, I got in trouble at home, okay? And I had spanked my son when he was growing up 3 times probably. Well, actually the third time he got away. So I didn't get him that time. But my father believed, like I said, in spare the rod, spoil the child. And looking back, I think I grew up, all things considered, I think I grew up pretty good. And it's funny when you're little and your parents say that this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. You don't understand what that means until you have kids. And after you have kids and you have to spank them, you understand totally, because you don't want to hurt your kids, and it's only a temporary hurt, if it's done right. And nowadays people don't want you spanking your kids. Oh, it's illegal. I don't believe in that. I believe, if it's done biblically and in a controlled situation, then it can be good. Okay. So my stepfather also had, his parents had a farm out there in the Poconos, and I would go out there and I would ride his horses. He had horses, and my step-grandfather made me stilts so I could walk on their stilts, and wooden stilts. And then they also had chickens that I could feed. So it was fun, and there was things like that I remember. And then they moved to another house. They moved from an apartment to a house they bought which had a pool. So my siblings, when we got together there, we would have fun in the pool. And so when I was in 5th grade, I started Christian school, and then we moved to another city, which was called Kramer at that time. And my dad and my first stepmother bought a house there, and I used to go to a school called Kramer Christian Academy. And in fact, I'm still friends with my principal, who was also my teacher at that time. I'm still friends with her on Facebook today, which is kind of neat. That was how many years ago? I mean, when I was 18, I graduated there, so. Let me see. So, 12. So after I was 12, okay, my feeling when I wake up and say, "Dad, I feel weird," and shaking. When I was 12, that actually turned in, I don't know why, that actually turned into seizures, okay? And I had what you call now clonic tonic, which I call, what it was called was grand mal, okay? And fortunately, when I had them, I always have an aura, okay, before it. I used to also there was a time where I used to have a migraine before it, but the migraines were only lasted for a certain time, and but I've always had the aura, okay, and then it would be like, start out like that, and it would go around your head like that, and it felt like when you're going, as you're going into the seizure, it felt like your body was twisting. That's what it felt like. And you're like seeing things go around, and like, I can't describe what I was seeing because it was just part of the seizure. And so when I had time, before this started, with this flashing, the aura, I would go lay down on my side against the wall, and that would keep me from rolling backwards onto my back, because if I did that, then I would, what do you call it? I could aspirate, okay? And you could also, they say you could swallow your tongue. I'm not sure if that's true, but you bite your tongue and all that too when you're in a seizure. But from the age 12, I started doing the full seizure thing, and my brother-in-law used to call it the fried egg. So we went to a neurologist at that time, and my father tried different things. We tried health things. We tried vitamins. We tried diet. I stopped drinking regular Coke, and I would drink Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, which is now found out not good for you. But he felt that maybe the sugar, was bad, and so we stopped doing that. Stopped drinking sugar drinks, and I was drinking diet. And so now to this day, if I drink a Coke, it has to be a Diet or a Diet Pepsi. So I went to the neurologist, and they do all the tests, the EKGs, the EEGs, and they put me on Dilantin, and they put you on, they also do MRIs and all that stuff, okay. And so they put me on Dilantin, and Dilantin, they told me, makes your gums grow. So I had to get my gums cut, and one time at least. But with the Dilantin, as I got older, okay, I started drinking, okay, and then I would say, well, if I'm gonna go out drinking, I won't take my medicine tonight, okay, I'll take it tomorrow. So, but that didn't make a difference. Whenever you drink, in my case anyways, it depletes the medicine in your system, and then you have a seizure, okay? So then, you know, so eventually, after I got tired of having seizures, I stopped drinking alcohol. And occasionally, I'll have an NA beer, okay? So, just because I like the taste, okay? And one of the other things I skipped here that I used to remember with my father was when I was 12 years old, he took me hunting, okay? We had to go to the gun training school for so long and, learn gun safety. And we went small game hunting. My father used to hunt pheasant, and then we went rabbit hunting, and we also went buck hunting. And I don't recall. I mean, I never shot anything. Even when I went hunting with my brother-in-law, he would joke because I would fall asleep out there in the woods. It's nice going out there in your orange suit. You're all warm up, and you're leaning against a tree in the snow, and you just take a snooze, okay? And my brother-in-law would joke about the deer coming up and sniffing around me, and it's the one that got away, So, but I don't think he was serious. So, I'm about halfway through my story, I think, here, so I'm going to take a break, and we'll continue on another time. But before I leave, I want to answer the title question: what does an epileptic look like? Okay. This is a question an epileptic would ask someone who says, someone says to you, to me or another epileptic, well, you don't look like an epileptic. This is because some people stereotype epileptics as needing to wear seizure helmets, and because some epileptics don't have the aura, okay? They just fall and they start seizing, okay? So they have to wear the seizure helmet all the time, and so if they fall, their head is protected. So it's funny because you say, well, what does an epileptic look like? What do you expect me to look like? So I Googled some facts. Only 1.2% of Americans have active epilepsy, and studies show that only 40 to 50% of epileptics could benefit from using a seizure helmet. So, like I said, the only time a helmet is needed is when people are a known fall risk or have no warnings of oncoming seizures. So be careful how you assume an epileptic looks like, okay? Because, you could hurt somebody's feelings, or, what am I supposed to look like? You know what I mean? So, you have to educate yourself on something, especially things you don't know like that. And so as I've mentioned so far, you can sometimes never know if someone is a severe epileptic or not. Okay. So I'm about halfway through my story, and I'm going to end it there for today, and we'll start again next time. I want to thank you. I want to wish you a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and keep it safe. And best wishes for you in your health. Take care.